to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we approve the agenda, I need to entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the deletion of section 6, item A, public hearing for text bill 14, aligning yard-based language.
I make that motion.
Okay, got a motion? All in favor? Okay, that carries. Okay, now, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make that.
Is that wrong? Okay. We need to approve the agenda first.
No, you're good.
Okay, okay. Okay, there's a motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Public comment. Anyone wish to come forward with a public comment?
You got one. You got one.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Come on. Yes.
Good day, how are you all?
Hello.
Fine, how are you?
My name is Mark Christiana. I live out here on Lassie Lane outside of Benson here.
What's the address?
Right across from McLean's,
What's your, just state your address.
164 Lassie Lane.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay? I've come down to address the committee on the past months up on Lassie Lane here, 203. They put in a drift pad up here, which they're spinning cars around, causing quite a ruckus, dangerous, lots of things going on there, coming down into our small path down there in our neighborhood. Last weekend, there was probably over 500 people there, and I know countless cars down here, drift cars. And we've addressed the town about this. I think they're working on it a little bit, but it's very disturbing to me that these kinds of things can go on because, I mean, basically what the sheriff tells you can do what you want on your own property. I'm like, well, there's got to be a limit here. I'm sure if I had a driveway down here in Benson and I decided I wanted to make it a burnout pad for my race car and kept doing it, I'm sure something would have to be done. But yeah, there's been many videos sent into the town, concerns. We own property, several properties right around there. My thing is that people are coming from all over the place. There was people there from Raleigh and other towns, people we don't even know coming down there. And our concern is what can we do to stop these kinds of things? I think that's why I'm here. I'm representing the rest of the family. I mean, we have elderly down there, we have children, we have animals, and it's turned it into a, I don't know if anybody knows what drifting is, but these cars run a lot of illegal exhaust, screeching tires, tire smoke like you wouldn't believe. I mean, our whole neighborhood was filled with this tire smoke there that, I mean, it's almost hard to breathe when you're right over next to it. My property runs adjacent to this. We have two properties, my wife and I, and their whole family were the McLams down there and have lived there. I think their family's probably been down there over 100 years. And all of us in that neighborhood are all related except for this one section there where these people had just, we put up with these endless parties through the nights. It started out, people drinking, driving up and down the road. I mean, we've had to put in speed bumps and we maintain the road that goes down there. It's not a public road. And we put a lot of work into it just to have people come down, coming through my yard, coming through my neighbor's fields. And yeah, I mean, it's caused us a lot of problems right now for us. I wanted to just come down and speak to you. It's not why we live out there. We want peaceful, and that's why Benson was always, it's a peaceful town. And when this kind of stuff starts to move in, it's time to address these issues. You know, what can be done? I mean, we have been round and round, and you know, I don't think when a sheriff tells you you can do what you want because it's private property, that certain noise levels, certain things that occur are not natural things. We don't mind. Somebody's going to have a family party, you know, you expect that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's been rampant gunfire down there in the middle of the night, and the police have been down there through the past years. There's a warehouse there, people overdosing in there, different things going on in there. And I said to the sheriff, I said, these kinds of things come into these back neighborhoods here and can affect our whole community, you know, as a town. My concern is, what can we do to regulate, especially this drifting stuff? And like I said, the first sheriff that came down and told them, don't do it here anymore, take it down to the racetrack down here in Benson. That's where you do it. I mean, I like to race, I've got fast cars, I do that stuff, but I'm not gonna do it in my neighbor's, right next to my neighbor here. It's just, it's just getting out of hand, so we're trying to get some help here. What can we do to make a little more peace here, where it's just, they start at 10:30 in the morning on a Saturday, could go right into 11 o'clock that night is what I'm told. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, Saturday, Sundays. And it's like, most people like myself, we're working hard all week, we wanna have a little peace and quiet at our home, and be able to relax. And, so that's why I'm here, to state my problem here for our whole community. We have our whole family community here, that this is, I just don't know what to say anymore. We're trying to do what we can, but I don't know what the town can do to say, hey, in the future, we need to make sure we keep our town safe and people from coming from all over the place into our town and making us a target for certain types of things. When they see a small community like that, they're like, oh, easy pickings down here, They start to look around, and I mean, you know what's going on in this world today. If we make it easy for groups of people like this to move in, we're gonna have nothing but trouble in the town, and it'll affect everybody. So that's my concern, is to come here, state what's going on there, and like I said, we've been putting up with certain things through the years, but this drift pit, from what I understand, they didn't put in a permit for a parking pad, and then they said they were gonna make it bigger. The reason is they couldn't drift enough, so they made it a little bigger. And when the sheriff came down last weekend, they were drifting around, the guy got out of control, he almost hit two boys that were standing next to this pit. And they jumped, and then we sent him a video, and I said, what's it gonna take? Does somebody get killed down there? I mean, they're hanging out the windows of the car and spinning around in circles. I'm like, somebody's gonna fall out and get killed. And it's only a matter of time before something happens, and that's why I'm down here. What can we do to, protect our town, our people? I mean, we're good, hard-working, honest people out here, and I mean, we just don't see a need for these kinds of things. There's places you can do that professionally, you pay a fee, and you can go do it, but I don't think in my backyard is a place I would be doing it. We're setting up an event center down here is what it's become. And they went down and inspected. They have videos on their social media page here of them having parties, drinking, all kinds of stuff. There's young kids running around down there, and that's my concern. That I'm concerned for our community and who we are as people. I mean, we're all good. I mean, I was glad to hear this is the first meeting I've been to, but I'm planning on attending more because I appreciate that people still believe in prayer and asking God for help. Because I said, I will pray and ask God for help on this. And that's why I'm here. I would really like, to people take note of these things are going on. And I'm sure if your neighbor set up his drag car next door in the driveway and was burning his tires all day long, there's got to be something we can do. And the sheriff said, well, he can do what he wants on his property from 7 to 11 at night. And so basically that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to get this addressed. I think the attorney's been on this case a little bit, looking into this. And but I mean, it's getting to my parents here. They've been in there 7 years. There's been a lot going on down there, but this is like the straw that's breaking the camel's back. It really is, So, and that's what I came down to state. My wife is scared to death. Different people coming down there. We're getting old now. We just, they see targets in people like us too. Hey, older folks. And it's just nothing I want. I want to have to address or get into a situation where it escalates. Because my other neighbor, he's been very upset. He's got a heart condition, and he's been out there. I told him, hey, you got to come down. You're going to give yourself a heart attack, but you can understand he's been there his whole life, and his family, and their whole family's been there. And I said, I haven't been there my whole life, but I'm certainly going to come down and speak up for us and say, hey, please help us. Please, let's see what we can do about this. So that's why I came down. So I appreciate your patience in listening to me, and like I said, I'm going to be attending these meetings from now on. I feel that as part that I can help with the community to address it and make people aware that, like I said, the world is getting out of control and there's lawlessness everywhere. Somewhere we have to strike a line. We don't accept these things. Certain things in our town are not acceptable. And I said that's what makes Benson Benson.
Yeah, so there's nobody here from planning, right? Okay, so yeah, I'll address this then. I appreciate Mr. Cristiano's remarks. I was earlier this week contacted by, I believe, your wife and then one other property owner out there about the issue. First, that I had been alerted to it. I went then to planning, looked at the property, went back to planning, spoke with Rachel Yefko. She's on top of it. They've sent violations, from what I understand. If you're not familiar exactly with where the property he's talking about, it's in the northwest quadrant of town. It's in the ETJ, and therein lies some of the issue with addressing it directly head-on in a summary fashion for the town, because the town only has planning and zoning jurisdiction out in that ETJ area where y'all are,
Okay.
not police enforcement.
Mhm.
So when you call 911 or you call law enforcement,
Right.
make a complaint about it, say this stuff's going on, and then the sheriff shows up, not the town of Benson PD.
That's
Right, so that's always going to be a problem in the ETJ. That's makes it a little bit trickier or more difficult for the town to address it, but they are working on it. Planning's already been working on, has met with the property owner, from what I understand. I don't want to say too much because I've only had some discussions yesterday, actually, with Rachel in planning. But they are working on it, but we'll have to address it through a zoning and planning violation mechanism. We can't unfortunately address it through sending out the Benson Police Department to directly address it like that. And but we've also discussed coordinating with the sheriff's office, meeting with them, and getting a more of a concerted plan together to work together to try to address your problem. I've seen the videos, some of the stuff on social media he's talking about, some of the videos that the property owners have sent, and this is my opinion, but it is. His concerns are well founded, and it's pretty extreme in what's going on. It's not just a big get together. There's cars and at night, and it's would appear to be a zoning violation. We'll let planning and zoning speak to that, but they are working on it. So we'll come back to the board. I'll get back with our planning department and keep working with them, and we'll get back to y'all. I'll respond directly to. I've already responded to some of the property owners, but not your wife just emailed me today. I'll respond to her directly myself, but we'll get back to you and then report back to the board on what the planning department can do from a zoning enforcement aspect, because that's really your own limited tool to deal with this.
Hey, Dylan, thank you so much. Anything else?
No, I just wanted to bring that up. The main thing was the drift pad. I mean, there's definitely, shooting going on back there too, like a shooting range in the back of the property. And I mean, I wish I had that kind of money to shoot like that. I mean, it's just, and I mentioned to the sheriff, there's definitely not stuff being shot there that's illegal sounding, if you know what I mean, when there sounds like automatic weapon back there, it's a little concerning for us because, just one wrong move and somebody could be gone, and I don't want that to happen. Also, when they wreck these cars over there, the oil that spills out, the gas that spills out on the ground, they have no way to clean this up. It goes into the groundwater over there, and our concerns are we're all on well water out here, so it could affect us all eventually. So these are things up front that we want to try to say, hey, I've been, I speak nice to all those neighbors down there. I've been nice to every one of them. I'm not going to go over in a rage. I'm not like that. I try to be peacefully, try to come to a conclusion that, we don't want, I think punish with kindness is the best way to do it and the legal way to make this happen for us all. And because I think people get enraged, it only leads to one thing, more rage. But that's my concern today. But I appreciate you all listening to me down here. And thank you so much for looking into this. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll come to a way to stop this this party venue, I call it, down there now. And it's like, yeah, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. New business. Consider approval of appointment, advisory board appointments. Angie.
Was there anybody else?
Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody else want to comment? Public comment. Okay, let's have, okay, now, go ahead.
Okay, so tonight I have some advisory board appointments. For the Board of Adjustment, we only have one ETJ, available seat, so out of the two applicants, you'll have to just appoint one of those. The other ones are planning, parks and rec, cultural arts, and police. Those are all vacancies that we don't have, they're fine. So, just do the Board of Adjustments, so like I said, one and the rest of them you can do like one motion if you want to.
Okay, we need to have some discussion on Laney Norris versus Charlie Harper. Anybody know?
Mr. Harper just rotated off of the planning board for 2 terms, is that correct? Or was he, has either one of them already served on the adjustments for 1 term?
Charlie's been on the planning board, I know.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think
He just rotated off of that, right?
was this his second term, huh? I don't know, all right.
I think it was the second term.
His second term, okay.
So he just rotated off.
Yeah, I think Charlie's, yeah, it's,
He's on the been on the BOA, right? He's the
No, he's
chairman.
not been on the board of adjustments, he's just been on the planning board.
I think he has.
On the board of adjustments?
I think so, yeah, because we had hearings and he was the chairman. I did issue a subpoena. I had to get him to sign it. That was earlier.
So these,
last
so,
year.
so this would be him reapplying for his second term?
Yeah.
And what about, the second one?
Lenny Norris.
Right.
When I read her application, it looks like she's young. It looks like she's the legal intern for the town of Garner right now, when I went through the application.
I've actually, yeah, our staff's recommendation is Lanny. She's got a great background. She's actually, if you look at her resume and where she's working, I've talked to a couple of folks. Paul Boucher, for example, has contacted me directly. She brings a great skill set that I think would be beneficial to our, to what we're trying to accomplish in the future. So that would be the staff's recommendation.
Well, on that note, I would like to nominate is it Laney? Laney Norris
Okay, we got a
for
motion.
that board.
Motion
I
on
make the
floor.
motion.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, good deal.
And the rest of them, Mayor, can we just appoint all of them at one time? I make a motion that we appoint them all at one time.
Okay, got another motion on the floor. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Thank y'all.
Town manager. Okay, great. Good evening, Mayor, Council. A couple of things just want to go over, before I get to the weather. That's really what I really want to talk to you about tonight. But a couple of things just to, want to welcome Sharon Penny, our new finance director. She's been on the job less days than I have, which is not saying a heck of. I asked the council, I've obviously given her a pretty monumentous task there to get after. We need some time. We need some time. I know a lot of folks want to ask questions and stuff like that, but you think I'm drinking from a fire hose. She's got her hands full on that piece. So found her desk, which is a good thing. And then we're going to get after. I'm really having her focus on so that we can give you a as accurate a picture as we possibly can before our budget retreat. So we've got to dig into it, and of course, everything we dig into, there's 2 or 3 more things you got to dig into and stuff like that. So please give us the time on that piece. Angie's been obviously a huge help, as well as the rest of the finance staff, and then we're looking through. She's looking through obviously all of the things we need to be looking through to get an accurate projection on where we are and how we move forward on that piece. But we welcome Sharon to the team. We keep checking to make sure she comes back each day. So, a couple of things. We've had the mayor, myself, Kayla, met with the Vulcan team last Friday, I think is when we met with them. Had a great meeting with them. Got some really, it was our first chance really to meet with the leadership since the announcement was there. And a lot of moving pieces. A lot of moving pieces that are going on with that. I will tell you that we will probably update you all, and I've got to talk to Ike on this piece, but it was a concern, obviously, of the company since there's a lot of eyes on this project. This is a national security project and such. We are, both sides recommended that we'll probably have quite a few folks, a few folks on the council and then folks on the staff that will enter into non-disclosure agreements based upon the complexity of this and the concerns of some of this project. Because it is a nationally security issue type of project, there are other
there are foreign agencies that are obviously watching what's going on. So that's why we need to keep this close hold to make sure this project goes, and it's moving very quickly. We got an update the other day that you'll start seeing dirt move out there in the end of March timeframe is what we saw. It was sort of staggering for us just to give you an idea of how big this project will be, is that at certain times they will peak labor forces out there that will exceed 500 people. Just to give you an idea, normal rotation of folks out there is between 300 and 500 people that will be working on this project, and they hope to have this thing encapsulated, you know, the structure up and such, which is very audacious, but I will tell you that there's lots of people that are helping them by the November timeframe. So that's a pretty powerful and audacious schedule, and you can imagine the workload that goes into it. And everybody, when I tell you that when they run into a stopping point or somebody gives pushback on the progress of this, it gets fixed very quickly. So it's a good news piece. So anyway, it was good reports, and we're staying in contact with the Vulcan team, and I'll give you all more details as that develops. Mr. Chandler, myself, I think and Paul Boucher obviously were there. Mayor, I knew you were out of town. The Alliance elected to and heard a briefing, and the new director for the Alliance, you know, Reed moved on, is now Ryan Murphy. And Ryan Murphy, I think, has got some ties to the area, which is great. He's got a great background. He's got a heck of a resume that he has worked inside the Beltway. He's worked inside of the legislative offices up in Raleigh, has done a lot of economic development for manufacturing type of facilities. You know, Will, I think we were all very impressed with who he was, and he was offered the position and has accepted the position. Matter of fact, today is his first day. So that's our new director of the I-40, I-95 Alliance, as far as that goes. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the storm prep. I got to compliment the staff. I will tell you that I continue to be impressed by these folks back here. They have been prepping all week, if not a little bit as soon as they heard about it, and I'm really pleased on their preparation, because obviously we're planning for the worst case scenario, and I'm going to ask Kayla to jump in here when I start trying to hurt myself. Forecast, the latest forecast we've got, and remember they only do forecasts out 72 hours, so we're only seeing really through a portion of Saturday, a little bit into Sunday. They'll have a better accurate picture of what's happening, and it depends on which model you look at. Both models are ugly, and our biggest concern obviously is the icing. And I'm looking back at Glenn back there. Obviously, this is an electrical issue more than anything. Folks, the amount of weight that's put on our lines is going to be tremendous. And obviously, if anything happens to the line that's coming into the town, the Duke line, that is of huge concern because that's out of our control. And so we're going to do a pretty elaborate social media blitz to keep folks informed of what's going on, but I will tell you that our folks have done all the preparation and continue to do the preparation for this, and as well as the communication is in between departments as well. And I'm talking from topping off vehicles and ensuring generators are working and pre-positioning supplies to include generators, you know, to certain areas, the equipment that we need. We're starting to do a crew rest cycle, if you will, because we expect the forecasters expect this to be on Saturday night is when it's going to hit, and this will go all the way through Sunday night into Monday morning, and then if you look in the future at, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tuesday is the coldest day. It's going to get down to a low of 8 degrees on Tuesday in Benson, which is, as we all know, once it rains, it freezes back up, and we have a lot of shady streets and such, if you will. We do not have, this isn't a snow event. You just don't remove freezing rain off of streets. And snow or, ice correction, salt only works, above 28 degrees. So there's a lot of factors that we're very concerned about from an icing perspective. So a couple of things that just want to let you all be aware of just from an infrastructure standpoint. So the priority goes to infrastructure that supports, major infrastructure that supports the town. Number one is obviously electricity. Electricity does a lot of things. It keeps your wastewater treatment plant running, all your lift stations, all of your pumps, so that water flows, so that's huge. We do have a couple of lift stations that don't have generators for them. And so we've got a plan in place to handle that, if that becomes an issue, if the power does in fact go out. Communication's a big thing with me. I asked Glenn, if the power goes out, what happens to the cell towers? Now, obviously, the 911 towers have generators and such, but right now, the major communication that we use is vis-a-vis through, cell phones and stuff. So we've got an alternate communications plan and a contingency plan, so we can communicate with our crews. I think that the biggest thing for the council to help us with is everybody's going to want to say, my power's out. When are you going to come fix it? And the folks are working on the big stuff first. They've got to get the big stuff first because that's obviously why their power's probably out. Then you start working into the secondary and the tertiary areas of tree limbs and other storm-related damages, that are affecting that. And so they'll get to it, I think is the message here. People just need to be patient as we deal with the storm. It could be bad, it could be good. We've seen a model that in will come sleet first, and after sleet becomes the freezing rain, and believe it or not, there's a lull in there that will then bring in what they're calling a warm front that's between two low pressure systems that will actually bring rain. And sometimes that's a good thing. It'll melt some of the ice and stuff, but then of course all that refreezes. So this could be a multi-day event, and we just need to work through it and plan through it. I'll keep you all communicated. We'll keep the public communicated as much as we possibly can. I can't recommend high enough that the public should be on our app. We'll be pushing information out. We'll push it out through social media. We'll push it out through our Facebook and website, to keep pushing that information out to the folks. But the big thing is let the crews do what they need to do. The governor has established a state of emergency already. The towns across the board, we had a meeting today with the county. They have not yet declared a state of emergency. There will probably, if the county does in fact declare a state of emergency, there will have to be an emergency meeting with the town, and I'll get with Ike to see if we can't do it telephonically, whether or not, with our recommendation to either also declare a state of emergency or not. But that's a council decision, and that obviously triggers certain things that, from funding and a couple of other things that we'll need to declare that in order to do. I'll keep you all informed as we go through that. How can you help? So I already talked about obviously just managing the communication. I'll push out to the commissioners via text updates so that you've got, and I'll do that frequently, so you all have the latest information that I've got on that piece. What I need your all's help from is we don't want to call the departments and say, hey, there's a limb down on whatever street, and we're calling directly to the public works guy who's probably on a chainsaw, or the electric guy who is probably trying to turn on the power, and we pull them off task. The biggest thing is if you've got something, send it to me, and then I'll get that information to them so they can prioritize their workload on what's most important on that piece. They are in communication, obviously, with Duke. We're in communication with DOT. We're in communication with the EOC. They're going to stand up the county EOC on noon tomorrow.
Saturday?
Noon Saturday. And they'll push out information for those type of services that they bring that we don't do. And I'll give you an example for warming stations or areas and stuff. We don't do that as a county process that they do, but we will get that information obviously out to our citizens as they do. We just don't have the capacity or the equipment to do things like that. The other things is I'm sure that the citizens will probably want to do, what can we do to take care of our folks who are out there doing the great work that they're doing and stuff. And you know, obviously food's always cool. You know, guys, I'm sure everything's going to be closed down, you know, across the piece and stuff. And so obviously the fire station right now is where we would take that to, and we could get it out to those folks. That's how you can sort of help. But the big message is just people just need to stay off the roads, stay hunkered down. They've really got until about Saturday to get whatever they need. We're going to push out through social media saying, almost like hurricane preparation. Here's sort of the things that you've got, you know, you should think about having at your disposal. And then after that, just stay off the roads. I'll make a call. I'll contact you all prior to doing it, whether or not. Right now I'm leaning towards closing City Hall on Monday, based upon what we see that comes in, you know, Sunday or Saturday morning, and only bringing in essential personnel that are actually taking care of those infrastructure and emergency type of operations. Have the schools already closed? I think we talked about that today.
No, they're not closed yet.
Not yet, but I expect people to make those decisions tomorrow, to be honest with you. It's just not looking good. Right now we've seen, just to give you an idea, up to 3/4 of an inch of freezing rain and ice accumulation. And I was told a 1/2 inch on the lines is almost 500 pounds, something like that. And bad things start happening with power lines at that point on there. What did I not talk about?
You actually covered almost everything I had in my list. The only thing I would like to say is the county is working with the shelters throughout. Clearly a white flag is going to be out for much of next week because the temperatures are going to be so low. If you come across anybody who needs to go into a white flag shelter because of the weather, they normally start letting people in around 5 or 6 in the evenings. You can reach out to us. We will get in contact with the county, with emergency management. Again, this is shelters for people who are homeless. They don't have anywhere to stay. When the white flag goes out, anybody can be taken into these shelters. In terms of a warming shelter for power outages, none of that is on the books as of right now. Again, in that case, we're all hoping for best case scenario, everybody retains power. If anything in that area changes, we will make sure to let the board know, and again, post it out on social media and all of our
Do you know where the warming areas are going to be?
They listed 3.
The white flag shelters?
Yeah.
Do you have them?
I've got
It's Street Reach, the Salvation Army, and Smithfield Rescue right now were the 3 that were mentioned. Again, those are not full-time shelters. Those are just white flag shelters for unhoused who need a place to stay when the temperature is this cold. They will not talk about or open any warming shelters preemptively because talk about staging shelters, whether it be warming shelters for the storm or hurricane shelters, flooding. People tend to arrive prior to needing to be there. So they will not announce any warming shelters or anything like that until we know they're needed and they're set up and ready. And if and when that happens and we get that notification from the county, we will share that information as soon as we get it. But there is no plan at this time on the books to open any warming shelters.
the shout out to business. There's quite a few businesses, or a couple businesses that have actually come on board, knowing that we need supplies that are in need. What was the Black Creek, the Readiness has already given us sand, and as a matter of fact, has given us access to all their sand, and their loader, believe it or not, as we need it. So I really impressed with, obviously, the community's already starting to reach out and assist because they understand what's happening. I'll tell you, I spent the day, most of the day, with the 74 city managers, town managers with electricities. It just happened to, it was in Raleigh today, and this was the main topic of discussion on prep for what's going to happen with, and their concerns with the grid. So it's this one's about electricity on this one, and we're just going to watch it carefully, and we'll deal with it as we go. But I'll keep you all informed. That's the big thing. Any questions you've got, please don't hesitate. And my plan, I'll physically be in the town starting Saturday, and stay through, obviously, here through that. So I'll be in the area for this entire duration. So, any questions? That's all I've got, Mayor.
Okay. This is also Chamber Awards Banquets February 5th. Is that right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got a couple. I was going straight to the storm. So they've moved it. Actually, went to the chamber meeting. So it's now been moved to the 26th of February for that. So please mark that on your calendars for that.
Just FYI, I will be here on the 26th. I'll be in Atlanta.
What's that?
I've got a meeting in Atlanta on that Wednesday to Sunday, so I won't be at the chamber.
Okay.
We have a town board meeting scheduled that night. Are we gonna go forward with that?
On the 26th of February, isn't that a?
It's a Thursday.
Thursday night.
That was the week before, on the 19th.
Yeah, ours is on the 19th.
Okay, something like that.
That would have been the old
Okay.
fourth Thursday.
Yeah, 19th is our.
So
Is
did
our
we change the third Thursday?
You're back-to-back weeks now.
Well, what if you, on the third Thursday though, if the first of the month is on a Wednesday, wouldn't you have your second Tuesday and third Thursday would be 2 days apart?
If I can't off the top of my head remember if that happened this year, but if it did happen, we separated them by a week. We adjusted. Just like a holiday, we adjusted accordingly.
Yeah, I've got us on the 19th.
You can knock them all out in 1 week. Real busy.
They have that right.
I'll just say, because this dovetails or segues right off of what Mr. Rideout was saying, the governor's declared a state of emergency, so if you need to do likewise in the town, you can conduct that meeting remotely, electronically. You do not have to reconvene here.
Just got a note too that said that they're gonna, they closed, the county schools have closed tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah, tomorrow and
They're
Saturday.
gonna decide on Monday, on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, I honestly believe that Monday is going to be ugly.
Yeah, they're close.
It's just the temperatures that we saw, we were stagnant. The wind chill temperatures are going to be -1. So
It
that's,
also said too, I think, said that last time we had something like this, power was out for 2 weeks. I don't remember that.
I remember.
I would defer.
I remember. Yes, ma'am. I sure do. People were moving their freezers to Mellon Dormer. That's exactly right. Sure was. It was a long time ago, though, but I remember. Yeah, it was
I
probably
don't remember
before
that at all.
No, you probably don't, but I do. It was in the 80s. Yes, ma'am.
let's hope not.
But it sure did.
I was in diapers.
That's all I got.
Town attorney.
Just that one comment about the emergency meeting, you can conduct that remotely. I don't have anything else unless there are
Good
questions.
deal. Commissioner, Derek.
Good.
I'm good.
I've just got one thing. Larry Hall, that worked with the town of Benson for a good while, his wife just passed away yesterday, Miss Sue. So,
I just wanted to make sure, I've been thinking about this, and I know we already said it, but make sure if you can, anybody that needs our help, we need to figure out some way to get our help to these people. We don't know what we expect, it's gonna be bad. So I think maybe we can figure it and multiply by 10 is what we're going to do. Just, kind of think outside the box, I believe, to make sure we look after everybody.
Yeah, I can't stress enough our app that we use, because it allows you to actually communicate, and we can monitor that and filter through it, because the folks are going to tell you my power's out. Okay, the whole town's power's out, but those type of events we can, that's the best way. And then obviously that there's still 911 is a way of getting it and getting that information out. So it has the potential of being, this is not just a Benson thing. This is going to saturate the state's capabilities. So.
Anybody else? Okay, hearing nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
All in favor?